Where are you? You spatter-dab Jake? We just want to talk to you. Say, how's about a little quality time?
I must keep quiet.
Gotcha!
Stay out of my head!
Darryl, please listen. Beware the shadows.
It's not real. It's not real. I need to get out of here. I need a drink.
Welcome to the quest for the Green Ball! Lost in Dreamlands! The first round of divisional games are complete, and we have 3 teams in first place by tiebreaker. More than conquerors, remember the Titans and the elite Mother Tuckers. As I said before, history tells us that these teams have a 70% chance of winning their division now. But with only one game separating 11 teams, a lot of work is left to do. No one wants to lead anything up to chance or what happened in the past. And of course, for the 3 wild card spots, these next 8 out of divisional games end up being very crucial for those final tiebreaker scenarios. There's also no undefeated teams remaining, which is kind of early for normally what happens in this league, and that of course brings us to last week's with the Stellar Bitches hosting the Overcomers in Mexico City, 1955. This one ended up becoming closer on Monday night, but the Overcomers essentially controlled the entire match in a 99.5 to 88.56 win to end the undefeated dreams of the Stellar Bitches. Injuries were detrimental to the Bitches, who lost A.J. Brown, Isaiah Pacheco, and Joe Mixon before the match. They ended up trading Brown to Remember the Titans for Zay Flowers and Cam Akers to help alleviate any time Mixon will miss. But for this one, they had to roll out with 2 tight ends, a third-string running back, and a couple of wide receiver threes. The tight ends actually stepped up to complement the best game of the year by Joe Burrow, but the rest of the team lacked enough points in the loss. The Overcomers had some up-and-down play too, but a beast game by Derrick Henry and solid games by Devin Singletary and Aaron Jones were keys to the success. Henry had 174 yards and 2 scores, and Jones picked up 148 yards and a touchdown. Singletary lost a fumble, but had 108 yards and a score. Khalil Shakir added 72 yards and a touchdown, while player to watch Quentin Johnston found the end zone again for a career-high season total in touchdowns already in Week 3. Najee Harris on the other side just wasn't good enough, being held to 86 yards and no touchdowns. Burrow did have 324 passing yards and 4 touchdowns to lead the Bitches, and Dallas Goedert and Jake Ferguson combined for 265 yards. Not much else in this one, with both teams now sitting at 2-1 overall, and the Overcomers in second place in the American Void over the Bitches by tiebreaker.
Huge game of the week win for me. First of all, taking down the only team that was 2-0. Lots at stake when everybody's 101. You really want to get out that win and just have a little bit of an edge. Plus, it's a division win, so I am very happy this week. I have a little bit of moves I feel like I need to make this a playoff run team. But right now, I'm pretty excited about my squad. I am, a little bit hurt by the injury bug, but it hasn't affected me too much. Really ready. I want those big number breakout games. I'm pretty excited for when those are going to happen. And but I am open to trades. I am open to the waiver wire. I'm ready to go. I'm excited about this season. I really liked where I picked in the draft, and happy.
That was a key road game of the week win for the Overcomers. The first time a visiting squad has won on the road in our featured match. But what about all the other action that sets the stage for the next 2 months? Let's check it out in the best of the rest. Remember the Titans traveled to take on Air Jordan in the other American Void matchup and not only dominated in a 148.18 to 67.28 win, they also earned a trade for A.J. Brown and had a strong bench performance, looking like the scariest team in the league. Brock Purdy had 3 touchdowns, and Zach Moss and Jamar Gibbs also reached the end zone. Gibbs with 103 yards. Rashee Rice went off for 111 yards and a touchdown, and Chris Olave also scored. Jamar Chase finally showed up too, 118 yards and 2 scores by the first-round pick. The Steelers' defense added 5 sacks. Air Jordan struggled again with 2 scores by Patrick Mahomes and touchdowns by newcomers Amon-Ra St. Brown and Dalton Kincaid, but there wasn't much else after that. Remember the Titans is now in first place in the American Void at 2-1. Air Jordan is in deep trouble, falling 2 games back of all 3 other teams in the division and being the only team without a win so far in the league. Moving on to the European Void, we had a low-scoring match that came down to the final seconds of Monday Night Football as the visiting Minerva's Minions survived an 81 to 78.82 match against the Clash at Demon Head. Anthony Richardson, Zamir White, and Brandon Ayuk almost left the Minervas in shambles, while Terry McLaurin was left on the bench. But Saquon Barkley saved the day, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion, with one of those scores being over 50 yards to get that bonus point. There were a couple of okay scores that helped too, with Travis Etienne getting garbage time yards and Mike Gesicki catching a few extra passes on Monday night to do just enough. The clash at Demon Head had 135 yards and 2 scores by Jonathan Taylor and touchdowns by Brian Robinson, Garrett Wilson, and Trevor Lawrence. Minerva's Minions are now 2-1 and in second place in the division. The clash at Demon Head falls to 1-2. More Than Conquerors travel to play a low-key Lebowski Thor in the other European Void match and won 96.08 to 71.14. David Montgomery was key with 122 yards and a touchdown, and DK Metcalf caught another 50-plus yard bomb to finish with 104 yards and a score. Kyler Murray also reached the end zone, and the Colts defense collected 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble recovery. Lebowski Thor had a lot of up-and-down games with the Jets defense leading the way, 7 sacks, 3 points allowed, and a fumble recovery for them. Alvin Kamara added 127 yards, and Marvin Harrison Jr. caught his 3rd touchdown of the season. But the struggles of Ezekiel Elliott and Brandon Cooks were big. More Than Conquerors now leads the division by tiebreaker with a 2-1 record. Lebowski Thor falls to 1-2. On to the Asia Pacific Void with Green Acres hosting Pounders in Tokyo 1981. This one is one that the defending champs are going to want to forget, as Pounders dominated 93.16 to 44.98. Pounders had over 100 points combined by his 3 rostered quarterbacks, but you can play only one. He technically played the wrong one, but Jaden Daniels still did great. 254 passing yards, 39 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns. Breece Hall and Chris Godwin also reached the end zone, and the Bills' defense added 5 sacks, an interception, and a fumble recovery. Green Acres had touchdowns by Derek Carr and Alexander Madison, but it was a very rough week. Pounders is 2-1 and in second place in the division due to tiebreaker. Green Acres falls to 1-2. Finally, the elite Mother Tuckers went on the road to take on Risky Business in a battle of former champions, and they earned the key victory to take over first place in the division, 115.36 to 73.12. Dak Prescott finally came through with 379 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Zach Charbonnet had 107 yards and 2 scores, and Cole Kmet added 97 yards and a touchdown. Bijan Robinson also reached the end zone. Risky Business had a big game by Kyron Williams with 116 yards and 3 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson also caught a touchdown, and Baker Mayfield had a score as well. Another goose egg by Mark Andrews, and down games by Mike Evans and Josh Jacobs were tough though. Kaimi Fairbairn also had a terrible game with just 1 extra point after scoring 20 points last week. The Mother Tuckers are now 2-1 and in first place. Risky Business falls to 1-2. It was a week where the power rankings will have some changes at the top, with trades also influencing where teams are at. It's still very early, so shuffling, even if your team wins, is pretty common until we get to about week 6, week 7. This is good news for those at the bottom, with a few wins in the next couple of weeks going a long way to help them move up to the middle at the very least. Of course, you can check out the power rankings before you go, and that's the show! Hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow we will preview the first slate of out-of-divisional matchups, which will include a massive battle between 2 and 1 teams, a rivalry award on the line, and some desperation for those under 500. Until next time, salut.